Before we begin, thank you very much to Kamori Black Phoenix for joining the Patreon campaign over at patreon.com/TJOmega. Guys, I'm running out of ways of saying thank you. There's running out of ways of getting across that even if it's just $1 or $2 a month, it literally is changing my life, and it's literally allowing me to keep doing this right now. So thank you guys so much for everything that you've been doing for me. I will try to do everything I can for you in return. So back here at the toy shop, I wanted to go over something that's been coming up a lot lately, and it's unfortunate that it comes up because it's kind of just the nature of this business, especially when you're dealing in collectibles with a lot of value to them, and that is knockoffs, replicas, copies, fakes, whatever you want to call them, toys that are not real. We in the Transformer community deal with this a lot. And of course, Transformers are probably one of the most knocked off toys because everyone wants to make a buck off a transforming robot, but no one wants to bother engineering one themselves. I've seen Legends and mini cons upgraded to deluxe size. I have seen deluxe knockoffs shrunken down to legend size. I have seen Garfield heads on Optimal Optimus. I've seen Thomas the Tank as a combiner. I've seen ridiculous things, knockoff wise, over the years when it comes to Transformers and various other toy lines. You know, those multi packs of superheroes that include Marvel and DC characters and Shrek. But that's not quite the knockoffs we're talking about today. Knockoffs today that I have to deal with in this toy shop, they more focus on just straight up rip off, counterfeit, trying to fool the consumer into believing that this is a real product. It's not the most common thing to come across my desk at this store, but it is something that comes up enough to be a little bit concerning, I think. Now, there's two things in particular that are knocked off the most that come through here. One of them is Pokemon cards. And those are they're pretty easy to spot, but when you're a kid or you're a parent who bought a whole bunch of cards for your kids, you don't know the difference. You know, you go to the flea market, the seller seems like they're a nice person, you get a couple of packs, you don't question why they're only $2 each. That's just how that goes. Now, there's a few things to spot. There's a few things to spot that can make it easy. So the first is where you're buying it, because if you're buying stuff off of eBay or Amazon or something, and it's shipping out of China, it's fake. Pokemon cards, at least the English cards, are printed in America, so they are not ever going to come from a factory in China. If you see like a Chinese listing for Pokemon cards, oh, I'm sure you're already gonna. Sure, I'm already like the $70 price for a full booster box is already going to like clue you in. But just to settle it once for all, it's fake. Don't buy it. If you happen to get fake cards, if you happen to be in a situation where you're staring at a pack of cards and wondering if it is fake, look on the back and see whether or not all of the prints on the back for all the different colors align properly. If it looks a little bit offset, if it looks a little bit blurry, fake pack, get rid of it. Also, fake packs tend to sometimes have the incorrect art on the front. If you're familiar with Pokemon cards, you'll spot that immediately. But if you're ever suspicious, quick Google that series, quick up, like Hidden Fates booster pack, etc. I've seen Hidden Fates booster packs which have very obvious fake art on the front. So quick Google will tell you exactly what you need to know. Another thing, if you happen to have a loose card, and this goes for kids too, because I've had kids coming in here with fake cards they traded at school, and like they didn't know the difference. So there's obvious ones. There's fake Pokemon cards that have like 10,000 hit points and really weird gibberish words for attack names. Obvious fakes. But if it's clearly trying, or if, now the and that's like the worst. That's like the most obvious fake card. One step up is actual imitations of the cards, which they're going to look blurry. They're going to look a little faded compared to normal cards, color wise, and they'll probably be misaligned. If you look at the border of the card on the front, it's probably going to be diagonal a little bit. Pokemon cards can be offset. The top border can be thinner than the bottom border and all that, but they can't be crooked. So that's another big tell. If you get down to just like, oh, it looks spot on, it just looks like a normal Pokemon card, at that point, what you need to do is just give it a feel. Feel across the top, feel across the back. How smooth is it? Is it like really smooth, glossy smooth? Fake. Actual Pokemon cards have a little bit of roughness to them. It's because remember, they're cards for playing a game, so they have friction to them, so you can pull them from the deck. And especially on anything that's VMAX, Rainbow Rare, alt art rares, the holographic effect has a very noticeable texture to them. So if you're looking at a rainbow card and it's perfectly glossy smooth, fake card, throw it away. That's the kind of stuff that's easy-ish to spot. Nothing that really takes quite a trained eye. What I get most often, as far as people coming in and trying to trade things in that is fake, are Funko Pops. Because there's a million fake Funko Pops that come out of China, and they are actually produced in Vietnam. So if someone produces them, so if someone comes in with one that says made in China, that's not a shock. That's not a real shock. You wouldn't think it'd be shocking. So the problem with fake Funko Pops is they are so freaking valuable. I tell people who come into the store, I've never seen a toy line increase in value the way Funko Pops has, and they retain their value too. I rarely see them dip in price. At least when once especially once they're vaulted. Once they're vaulted, the price is locked. So spotting fake Funkos, that takes more of a trained eye. That one does take a lot of precision. I wish I had the great example that came in before, but we didn't end up taking that one in. So there's a lot of easy tells. Again, print quality is a big one. The logo on the front of the box, like the actual like series logo, there's a here. Good example. Legitimate Funko Pop. So there's little tells that will give you everything you need to know. So for starters, the image on the front should be completely clear. That logo right there at the top. If it's fuzzy at all, then it's probably scanned in or taken from Google Images. Don't do it. Another one that we see a lot, art on the front. If it looks like a photo of the toy rather than an actual piece of drawn artwork, fake, get rid of it. Another tell is sometimes they are reproduction boxes. I've had plenty of times where I've had to turn away a pop because on the box it actually says this box is a reproduction. So always check the bottom of the box to make sure. Now, sometimes it's really easy. Here is a fake Funko Pop of Sheamus from the WWE. Now, this one, extremely obvious fake. It is using actual logos and art, and like all that looks fine, but you won't be able to see it from my webcam, but the artwork itself is fuzzier than it should be. The name, God, I wish it was this focused. The name itself, the printing, you can actually see there is a little bit fuzzy and weird because it's not actually print. On the back, if you look, see how the white around the rock's head is uneven? Yeah, it literally looks like, they just took images off of Google and copy pasted them onto the back because that's exactly what they did. And then the biggest tell, like this one, however, is really easy to tell for two reasons. Number one, that is definitely not Sheamus. So you can tell the shape of the head is wrong. The vest on there is wrong. Sheamus does not wear knee braces. He does not wear he wears a Celtic pendant, but that one is painted on rather than being a sculpted detail. The body is from Stone Cold Steve Austin. They have taken Stone Cold's body and what I presume is Sheamus's head, but it looks weirdly deformed. It doesn't look correct. Like it should be, it's taller than it should be. It should be wider than it is, and it's very fuzzy, not flocked, and not in a flocked way. But yeah, it's just ugly, ugly, and very obviously fake. The biggest obvious fake is on the top of the box. It just has one of those generic Chinese factory labels on top of it. Pop, WWE, Sheamus, Undertaker, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin model number. You know, that kind of thing. You know, they usually get out of like AliExpress or Wish, just a generic box with that kind of factory sticker on it. So obviously fake. Obviously fake. Here's one that's a little bit harder to spot. So this looks like an unmasked Chase variant, right? Well, it doesn't have any kind of Chase sticker on it, so you're already going to know this is not quite right. But that could still be mistaken. The sticker could have just fallen off. They make unmasked exclusives all the time, and if you look at it, it looks well made, you know, and nothing looks too far off on that. Now, it's going to have a few problems that are a little bit easier to spot. The logo on the top is a little bit more pixelated than I would expect to find, but everything else looks fairly clear, even the artwork. What you spot, however, is the discrepancies. So on the artwork, you can see the arc reactor on Iron Man is round. On the body there, you can see it's squared off. That's your first clue. So here's the other clue. Look on his left shoulder. You see that post sticking up? That little peg? That's where a cannon goes, because this was War Machine's body, and they stuck a Tony Stark head onto it. So they could have changed the art to actually fix that, but that takes effort. That requires paying someone. So instead, they just slapped existing elements together and decided, hey, we'll try and trick people into believing that it's a legitimate Chase piece. It's not. It's fake. That stuff is easy to spot. You know, now the higher echelon, we had a bank robber Joker from The Dark Knight come in. This one was tricky. The print quality was good. The pop inside looked authentic. It looked like it was, you know, it was well painted and all that. Sometimes see these are like, so like when you see knockoffs like these are just trying to trick people. Like these are just trying to produce pops as cheap as possible to cash in on them, and they're just not even trying to hide the fact that they are knockoffs. You know, obviously they are fake. But then there's a few groups that are legitimately trying to come as close as possible to deceive people into paying huge amounts for them when they are in fact fake. The print quality on the box looks good. The quality on the paint and the sculpt is correct. Everything looks fine, but you have to go over it with a fine-tooth comb. The ones that we saw had two things wrong with it. One, the box should have looked like this, without any kind of Funko logo in the corner. That's how the bank robber Joker looks. You know, it should not have the Funko logo in the corner, which I don't have a... Yeah, so the box that we got had the Funko logo in the corner like that. The legitimate one doesn't have that. Very easy to miss because only some pops have that. The other tell was on the front of the box, the Dark Knight logo on the top banner was a little fuzzy. Not too much, but near the tail end of the bat symbol, there were two little dots off to the side. And what those two little dots were was a trademark logo, because they had pulled the image off of Google image search, glued it, like copy pasted it onto this box art, and they didn't bother removing that. The official one does not have a trademark. And this one was so small that you couldn't even make out the fact that it was a TM. Legally, it would have to look like a TM, clearly. So it was just a little tiny two dots told me that it was a fake Funko Pop. And if it was legitimate, it's over $300. It's a pop that's worth over $300. And it's terrible to have to tell somebody, hey, this pop you thought was so valuable, it's not real. I'm sorry, it's not real. We had one woman come in with a Funko Pop of Jason Voorhees unmasked from New York Comic Con. If this thing was legitimate, it would have been a $1,100 Funko Pop. It is that rare and high demand. The box art on the front was a photo of the toy, not actual artwork. Immediately triggered fake to me. Which it sucks. It really sucks. Because it's the worst part about my job is telling people that they brought me a counterfeit. Because in their head, in their mind, that's money in the bank. That's a nest egg to them. That's something that, like, if I need the money someday, I can sell this and I'll be fine for a while. In their head, they already have the $1,100 from that Funko Pop. So to have to tell them, I'm sorry, it's not. Like, you're not actually taking money away from them. They would have found out when someone tried to buy it. But it's better to find out from me than when they try to like sell it online and have a customer tell them, oh, it's fake, and has the money ripped right back out of their bank account by PayPal or eBay. I would rather be the one to break it to them, because at least then, like, you know, they're coming to me. They're not looking for full value anyway, because that's not how these shops operate. So at the very least, I can set them down a little bit more gently. You know, and it's better from me than, you know, like angering a seller or, you know, someone or a buyer that actually bought it from them. But man, it sucks. It sucks, the disappointment you have to see on their face when they find out that, you know, that in their mind that money's gone, and that, you know, you took that money away from them. And fortunately, I haven't had anyone get upset over it. Most everyone has been like understandable about it. But it really is the worst part about this job. But it's a necessary one. And the more I've run across, and the more of these that I've identified, the more I'm getting an eye for exactly what is a knockoff and what's not. What is a fake and what's not. And it's interesting, like, because at times you just think it's all fun and games, and you're sitting here peddling toys, and like you just kind of think to yourself, wow, like, this is a fun job, and it's kind of easy because this is the stuff I'm into. But there is skill to it. There is tact. The knowledge itself is valuable. And the knowledge to be able to spot that stuff, not only to help the customer out and avoid any kind of drama for them, but to also avoid any kind of purchasing mishap for the store, is a really important thing as well. And that does make it a valuable, you know, skill to have for something like this. And you know what? At the very least, I'm honing that skill, even if I have to be the bearer of bad news. But you know what? That's just how it goes. That's the toy store life. Guys, I am facing the most powerful enemy any YouTuber can face, the algorithm, and I need your help to defeat him. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Every time you do, we attack that algorithm and we drive it back until it can no longer defeat this channel. Thank you very much.